This podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. The Fireman Moving Company is the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you're looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. All right, welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast. We are the official podcast of the Red Towel Trust Collective, and we're a proud member of the College Huddle podcast community. As always, feel free to follow us on all our social media accounts. We're pretty much on every platform. Just search Topper Talk, you'll find us. And I've got Tyler here with me, man. We're ready to dive into an episode. Tyler, you ready?
Yeah, I'm still kind of processing this one, but I'm ready to talk about it and bury it and move on to the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we do that, we have to go over our Red Towel wrap up, which catches us up on all the WKU athletics that we've missed since we last recorded. And as always, that is brought to us by Trent Bedding Company. So let's get a word from Trent.
Don't forget your headboard, pillows, and your sheets. We got everything you need for a good night's sleep. Number one on the same check, best of Bowling Green.
All right. Hey! Twins, full, queen and king, mattresses for anything. Come and pick it out and we can bring it to your house. Have you sleeping real good before the weekend's out. Trent Bedding. It's just like a mattress store. Hey.
And all right, starting in with WKU soccer, they beat UTEP to a score of 2-0. Lily Rumo and Olivia Cook scored them 2 scores. Breast cancer awareness game was played Tuesday, 10-4 versus Kennesaw State University. That game ended in a tie, 1-1. The whiteout game for the soccer team was 10-6, and that was against Jack State University.
Yeah, soccer team, had a couple cool games there. Obviously, the breast cancer awareness, always a good event to have. And then the whiteout, that was just today, actually a few hours before we recorded that game, tied 0-0. I forgot to put that score on there for you, Tyler. But yeah, had a tie versus Kennesaw, beat UTEP, and then tied versus Jacksonville State. So I think that was Maddie Davis's 4th shutout on the season. So she's absolutely killed it as the goalkeeper. So congratulations, soccer team.
Olivia Skidmore, she was named Freshman of the Week, and Callie Bauer was named Setter of the Week after sweeping Jack State.
Yeah, so our volleyball team, as we expected, has definitely turned the corner. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in this wrap up. But yeah, nice to see a couple of our players getting some recognition. Olivia Skidmore, as a true freshman, has just been absolutely killing it. As an outside hitter so far this season. And then Callie Bauer has also been solid as a setter. So nice to see those 2 ladies getting the recognition they deserve.
Moving on, WKU men's golf team finished 15th at the Badger Invitational.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of tough competition at that one. It's a Wisconsin Invitational. A lot of big teams there, Power 4, Power 5 teams there. So nothing to hang their head at, finishing 15th. Again, this is still a young team figuring it out. I have a feeling that their best golf still ahead of them, so still proud of them for competing there in that tough invitational.
Here's some news coming up that I didn't expect. UTEP is set to join the Mountain West Conference effective July 1st, 2026.
Yeah, that news just came out a few days ago. Surprising a little bit, I guess, but not really, because they're where they're at in, as far as where everybody else is in Conference USA, they're so far to the west. I mean, they are a trip. I think we're closer to New York and then New York City than we are to UTEP. Like, they are such, they're on the very handle of Texas to the very west. So they are just out of the way. Travel cost wise, it's a big, long, expensive trip for all of our sports teams that have to go there. So I'm happy for them. They get to go to a conference that they probably align more. The Mountain West probably better travel wise for them. Um, good for them. They're getting out of Conference USA, and we're going to be just fine.
That is true. Now moving on to WKU football, got some scheduling news. Series with Nevada is set for 2025 in Bowling Green, and then in 2026 we're going there and playing in Reno.
Yeah, it felt like it had been a long time since we had any scheduling news that had been announced. Any series home and away, but just felt like it had been a while. And this one, I think this is the first ever time we've ever played Nevada. So neat that they'll be coming to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and then obviously in 26 when we go and play there at Reno. That'll be a good, fun excuse for some of our fans to head over that way and check out Reno, or maybe make the trip over to Las Vegas and just hang out for a little bit and make a weekend of it. So cool series. Glad to have it on the schedule.
Now the news that everyone's probably excited about and broke sports Twitter is WKU football unveiled the new big red eyes helmet. They're to be worn against UTEP, and I just saw one tweet about this, and it said, "Imagine getting tackled and seeing those two big eyes staring at you while you're getting up." I think that's just hilarious.
Yeah, it sounded like Reed didn't like it. It sounded like he was crying there in the background. Sorry, Reed. He must not like the big red eyes. Maybe they freak him out. But yeah, this is another cool, just decal option for our uniforms, for our helmets. Obviously, debuting the red helmets, first time we've worn them. Since they've announced that we are going to have them in the rotation. Our equipment staff continuously just puts out amazing stuff, and just broke the internet last year with the position specific big reds before the Liberty game. And now they've done it again with the big red eyes leading up to our game versus UTEP. Man, just Twitter was on fire there for a couple of days. Just all the big sports outlets, media outlets, everybody was just jumping on and saying, man, these are the best helmets ever, coolest helmets ever. WKU and their uniforms and their helmets, like they're always just innovative, and just, whether you like them or love them or hate them, the publicity that it's given Western Kentucky, just like last year with the position big reds, is you can't beat it. And that's what players in the university, they love that stuff. We need that stuff. We need more people to be aware of WKU and our brand. And then we're playing on Thursday night. We'll probably be one of the only games on when we play that Thursday night. So everybody's going to see that big red helmet, and I have a feeling we're going to put on a good show against that UTEP team in those big red helmets. I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah, and I know you're talking about publicity. It's like last season after we wore them helmets with the positional big red. I think it was Stanford Steve on the Scott Van Pelt show. You could see he had on like the quarterback big red underneath his shirt, and he wore that on ESPN, national TV, which I think that's freaking awesome. Now moving on, the women's golf, they played in the ODU tournament, the EV Odom Invitational. The team finished 7th. Freshman Kaylee Dwyer, she tied for 11th with a score of 3 over. Katie Craig tied for 19th with a score of 6 over. Avery Klein tied for 32nd with a score of 10 over.
Yeah, good showing for the golf team, the ladies. I find it interesting that we had a true freshman lead us in scoring, and she led from start to finish. She was in the top 5, top 6 at one point, finished, tied for 11th. But we now have had 3 different golfers lead our team this year. Katie Craig obviously always threatens to be near the top 10 in the leaderboard, any tournament, any weekend she can be there. Sydney Hackett led us in a tournament just a few weeks ago, and now a true freshman, Kaylee Dwyer. Awesome news. The team finished 7th, had a trio of girls that finished in the top 32. So definitely good performance. Love to hear and see that.
Now, you mentioned it earlier, but now we're going to talk about WKU volleyball versus Kennesaw State University Friday and Saturday. They swept them 3-0 on Friday and 3-0 on Saturday. So it was a good, clean sweep. You just got to love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about this continuously when we were covering all the games in the non-conference. they had a rough go of it. They were, faced several top 25 teams, several Power 4 teams, several teams that played in the NCAA tournament last year, and came out of non-conference with a 6-5 record, I believe it was. Just not what we're used to. We're used to seeing a team that only loses 2, 3, 4 games the entire season, and they'd already lost 5. Now this team has turned around and won 7 matches in a row, and they've won all 7 of those matches 3-0. So they've won 21 straight sets, which is just impressive. In real time when we were talking about those losses, we said, this is still a young team. This is a good team. Don't give up on them, because once they get to conference play, they're going to start blowing by people, and they did that already with Jacksonville State. Now they did it with Kennesaw State, and I think next up they have Middle Tennessee. Sorry, 100 miles of hate. The buzzsaw's coming. We're coming straight for you. We're not going to slow down. I promise you that.
And moving on to cross country, they performed in the Live in Lou Classic Saturday. The women, they finished 25th overall. 43rd finished 43rd was Kinley Kunkel with a personal record of 17 minutes 53 seconds. 64th spot, that was Mary Dye with a time of 18 minutes and 3 seconds. The men's team finished 19th. Jake Younger, he finished 73rd with a personal record of 26 minutes and 9 seconds. Jared Sanfus, he finished 97th with a time of 26 minutes, 23 seconds. And Hollis Johnson, he finished 110th with a time of 26 minutes and 34 seconds.
Yeah, obviously, cross country team getting started, performing well. Kinley Kunkel should be a familiar name. Mary Dye as well. On the men's side, Jake Younger, freshman, leading the pack. For the first time in a while, we've had a new face, not Jared Sanfus, leading the way. So congratulations to them. Obviously, the full results can be found on WKUsports.com. Didn't want to list every single runner and their time. We just tried to name, our top 2 or 3 for each team there, but definitely a good job to both the men and women.
WKU baseball, they played Murray State tonight, 10-6, and they won. It's always good to beat the Racers from out west.
Yeah, I didn't see a score on that one. I guess fall ball, they're just not posting the score, but they did post that we won. Like you said, always good to beat, that team from Murray, Murray State. We don't like them in any sport, any in-state team. We want to win, and we went out and did that. And I have high hopes for this baseball team going through fall ball, and then obviously when spring comes around and the actual season gets started, I have a feeling that Coach Reardon and this team are going to be projected highly, top 2, top 3 in this conference. So I'm excited to see what they do in this fall ball season as well.
Speaking of interstate competition, WKU men's golf team will play at UK on October the 7th.
Yeah, again, I heard Reed pipe up, start crying back there. You start talking about UK. Yeah, we don't like them either, Reed. But we're playing at their invitational that tees off on Monday as we record Sunday night. So obviously when we do the UTEP recap and preview, I think it's Sam Houston. After that, we'll talk about how the men's golf team did at UK. Obviously, we hope we beat UK. I'm sure they're probably pretty decent at golf, being a SEC school, Power 4 team. But, hey, we can compete. Let's go in there and shock them and do as good as we can. Go Tops.
Always go Tops. Everybody, that concludes the Red Tail Wrap-Up brought to you by the Trent Bedding Company.
As always. Yeah, as always, man, good stuff in the Red Tail Wrap-Up. A lot of good news, a lot of wins, some losses, some big breaking news. Just always good to talk about. Always good to get caught up on what we've missed since we last recorded. But now, we've got a big game to talk about. Let's jump into it. All right, now we're going to preview our upcoming game with UTEP. That game is going down on Thursday, October 10th. They will be visiting us here in Bowling Green, Kentucky, for the beginning of the October midweek games, as we have a bye in week 6, following our Boston College loss. And then we play them for our first midweek game the second week of October. They will be coming off a game the Thursday previous, so they will be coming off a 7-day rest still, while we'll have a 12-day rest. But that game is scheduled for a 7 p.m. kickoff. The game will be on ESPNU. Currently, WKU owns a 4-0 all-time series lead over UTEP, including last season's 21-13 victory. The ESPN matchup predictor likes WKU currently with an 84.7% chance of victory. Now, there's no betting line out on this game yet, as we're recording, before the week 6 games have been played. So, but I would expect that betting line to open in the double digits. I would say it's going to be at least 10, if not, 13 to 15. I would say it's really going to like us, especially with that ESPN predictor saying almost 85% chance that we win the game. Now, WKU, we obviously enter the game with a record of 3-2, with our most recent loss coming to Boston College. And then in week 6, we have a bye week and that 12-day layoff. And before this game, UTEP comes into this game. They're 0-4. They have a bye in week 5 as we're recording. And then they play Sam Houston State next week on Thursday, 10-3. I don't want to look forward too much. I don't want to predict how that game's going to go for them. But I'm predicting that they're probably going to come into our game at 0-5. They're just having a rough start to the season. And looking at their schedule, they lost to Nebraska in week 1, 40-7. Then they lost to Southern Utah, FCS, Southern Utah, 27-24 in overtime. They lost to Liberty 28-10 in week 3, but played them a little closer than I guess I would have expected, knowing those first 2 weeks results. And then they lost to Colorado State last week 27-17. Obviously, they're breaking in a new head coach. They hired Scotty Walden from Austin Peay. It's coming in, a lot of roster turnover, new coaching staff, and just has a big job cut out for him. And starting out 0-4, potentially 0-5 by the time we get to playing them, depending on how their game with Sam Houston goes next week. Rough start to the season. Right now they're only averaging 14.5 points per game, while they're allowing 30.5 points per game. So just, again, lopsided scores, up and down. That one overtime thriller, I guess you could call it, against Southern Utah. But even that's, not a good look for them or for the conference in general. So, Tyler, I guess, before we dive into the particulars of this team and who we need to watch out for, just how does this game look on paper to you?
Well, see, I feel like I said the EKU game was a trap game. And, it turned out not to be. This game, what was it? Last year we beat them like 21-13. I know it was close to third place. I don't think this game will be like that when my score prediction is good for us. But you mentioned the points for and against. They're passing for 242 yards per game, and they're only rushing for 79.8. So I think that's going to play to our favor. I feel like we ain't going to have to focus more on the rush, just focus on shutting down their receivers, their tight ends, getting back to the QB, applying pressure, making him cough it up. I feel like this will be a good revenge game. I feel like the dudes our team is going to kind of smolder on this loss, knowing it was so close, the loss to Boston College, knowing it was so close. Rest up, hold that anger with them for the 2 weeks, and then come out ready to just kick some butt. So I feel like we're going to have hopefully a good crowd at the house, ready to cheer on a WKU victory against UTEP, because I tell you, I don't know if we can. I don't know if we're as good as Southern Utah. I would like to think so, but that powerhouse of a football team down there at the bottom of Utah, that's just something. But I would like to say, it is kind of surprising that they did hold Liberty only 28 points. Liberty's coming back with Conley, with Caden. I mean, that's to me that's surprising. Maybe they're better playing against conference opponents than they are non-con. Who knows? But I would like to think that we can do better at our place than that Liberty versus UTEP game.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to expect on the attendance for this game. Obviously, the second season of these midweek games, a Thursday night game. It is also during fall break here in Warren County and the surrounding counties. I think most of them are on fall break, so I'm sure a lot of people will be going south. Again, I still hope it's 16, 18,000 plus people. I hope the weather is nice and it's not a rain monsoon like we've experienced the last couple of days. And I hope there was not a weather and lightning delay like we had versus Toledo. But as we look at this team and who to watch out for, we are doing this. I think you said old school. We're for the first time this season. We're going to break down the opponent ourselves. We don't have a guest to talk about UTEP, and it starts on their offensive side with their quarterback is Skylar Locklear, which is a surprise because I think coming into the season we thought it was going to be Cade McConnell as their starting quarterback. He has seen some action, but Skylar has been their starter. He is number 9. He's a 5'11", 195-pound sophomore. On the season, he's 66 out of 104, which is 63.5% completion percentage with 710 total yards, 3 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. So not exactly earth-shattering there as far as the statistics go. Per game passing and his touchdown to interception ratio is kind of upside down. So I like our ball hawks back there if he's throwing the ball around. Then their leading rusher is running back Javon Jackson. He's number 4. He's a 5'8", 205-pound junior. On the season, he has 55 carries for 214 yards. No touchdowns, if I recall correctly. I didn't write any down, so I'm assuming he has none. And he's averaging 3.9 yards per carry. Their leading wide receivers, I've got 3 of note. The first one is Kenny Odom. He is number 6. He's a 5'8", 163-pound sophomore. He has 14 catches for 289 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season. He's their leading wide receiver as far as touchdowns and yards go, and he's averaging 20.6 yards per catch. Their second wide receiver is Cam Thomas. He's number 5. He's a 5'7", 184-pound junior. He has 26 catches for 284 yards with 1 touchdown. He's averaging 10.9 yards per catch. He is their leading volume receiver as far as the number of catches, number 2 in yards. And then their third wide receiver is Jaden Smith. He's number 3. He's a 5'10", 195-pound senior with 21 catches and 177 yards. So, the target shares really split pretty evenly between those guys, and then it really drops off after those 3. And he is averaging 8.4 yards per catch. So, Tyler, talk to me about their offense, and does anything else or anybody else stand out to you? And what do you think about UTEP's offense?
Well, I will say, you mentioned the ball hawks whenever Locklear's throwing. I kind of like the dudes up front. UTEP has given up 11 sacks on the season. 9 to Locklear himself. Cade has 1, and Shea Smith, who is a backup to the backup, he has 1 sack. Cade actually, in I think their last game versus Colorado State, he was the leading passer with 220 yards. Before that, it was all Locklear. So I don't know if Locklear's hurt, if he messed up and had to miss a game or 2. That's something to keep an eye on. The Russian Jackson, you're right. Going down in order of Nebraska, Southern Utah, Liberty, and Colorado, he had 32, 80, 67, and 35 rushing yards. So he ain't really setting records. And then, for the high reception in the last 4 games, Thomas against Nebraska, 71, Thomas, 99 yards against Southern Utah. Really, really was good there. Thomas against Liberty, 68. And then Kenny Odom against Colorado State had 128 yards. So, maybe McConnell can make better passes, or, something went right. If he can have 220 yards and Odom finally breaks the 100-yard mark. But you're looking back at it, the Russian attack, they have a linebacker, actually, Corey Wren. He has 10 carries for 24 yards. So I don't know if they're just putting him in there as a fullback or a power back option. Just trying to pick up them short yardage. That's something to keep an eye on. And then you're right. After you get through with Jaden Smith, Trey Goodman, he has 12 receptions for 102 yards. No touchdowns. Ashton Nickelberry, he has 2 receptions, 32. yards. And then the only two people, I'll just go. Actually, yeah, I'll go with receptions, and I'll go back to something else I noticed. Jevin Jackson, he is a running back who's also comes out of the backfield and catches receptions. He's the only one with a other receiving reception, or receiving touchdown. But Skylar Locklear, he actually caught a touchdown pass. He has 2 receptions for 5 yards, 1 touchdown. I guess they did some trickery there. But Skylar Locklear also is our second leading receiver. He has 38 carries, 87 yards on the season, and he also has a rushing touchdown. So he's not just passing them; he's also running them in and catching touchdown passes. So I guess keep a lookout for their trick plays or their razzle dazzle, as some people say. But no, it's going to be kind of interesting if they do start Locklear, if they may throw McConnell in there later in the game, or just as a trick play option. That's something I'd like to keep an eye on, or at least try to study it a little bit. But I mean, nothing about this offense really sets off alarm lights. I guess, like I said, they have 242 passing yards. The rushing attack is very pedestrian. And I guess I just like our offense, or our defensive line and linebackers and Upton Stout to get back there and sack the QB, man.
Yeah, 14.5 points per game isn't going to, cause concern for our defense, and hopefully what we expect our offense to output. So, but definitely worth keeping an eye on Cade McConnell or Skylar Locklear, who's going to be starting. I guess we'll need to keep our eye on, their game versus Sam Houston this coming Thursday while we're on bye, just see how that goes, see who's playing, maybe get an opportunity to watch them and kind of see what they expect. But again, I don't want to overlook or underestimate any opponent, but I think this is a perfect kind of bounce back game, revenge game, whatever you want to call it. Get that Boston College taste out of our mouth. Felt like we kind of did that with EKU. We just kind of came out and had our way with them after that Alabama game. So I'm hoping our team reacts the same exact way after that loss to Boston College and comes out and just takes care of business for all 60 minutes versus UTEP. Now, looking at their defensive players to keep an eye on, their leading tackler is linebacker Dorian Hopkins. He's number 41. He's a 6 foot, 226 pound senior. He has 45 tackles on the season. 16 of those are solo, with a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. Then safety Corey Chapman. He's number 6. He's 5'10", 190 pounds. He's a senior. He's their second leading tackler with 38 tackles. 17 of those are solo with 1 sack. And then their leading sacker is defensive tackle Katie Johnson. He's number 7. He's 6'1", 275 pounds. He's a senior and has 2 total sacks on the season. So, again, a defense that's given up over 30 points per game. Tyler, what are your thoughts on their defense and what we might look out for or expect?
Well, I should be cautious to say this, because last year during New Mexico State, I said they couldn't catch a clap in Tijuana. I remember that because I had to eat crow on that, because they pick some of our passes off. But I feel confident. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that don't happen again. This team only has 1 interception on the season, and that title, or that trophy, I guess, goes to AJ Odoms. He has 9 total solo tackles. He's assisted in 6, so he has 15 totals. He's a cornerback. 4 pass deflected, and they have 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. This defense, it goes 16, or the solo. Once you get past Josiah Allen, he has 12 solos, 8 assisted. Oscar Moore, he has 10 solos, 13 assisted. After that, it really drops off in production. So hopefully, I mean, not hopefully. I just nine sacks on the season. I definitely don't want to overlook them, but kind of like their offense. You're giving up 30 points, 30 and a half points a game. That's not good. That's really, really bad. Especially when you get to Conference USA play, where typically the benchmark is you get 30 points a game to win. I mean, if you're only having 14, you're giving up 30. You kind of already behind the eight ball. Nothing about these guys really, like on the offense. None of them really sets off alarm bells or alarm lights in my head. I mean, I would just say honestly, Caden, make good passes. Everyone just protect the ball whenever you got someone coming up on you. I guess you say that about any game, but I feel like I feel like our offense shouldn't have much of a problem with these guys. Please don't let me eat crow again. I hated that last season, uh, but uh, I guess stay away from Hopkins and Chapman, and I feel like you're good. Dorian has 45 total tackles. Chapman has 38. Xavier Smith, he's a third tackler on the team. He has 34 total tackles. He's a safety. Nate Diamond, linebacker, he has 27. And Oscar Moore has 23 totals. And Josiah Allen has 20. Brighton Thompson, defensive end, he has 20. And after that, it kind of like it don't step off as bad as the offensive production, but it does severely degrade. So, I mean, I don't know. These guys just don't really worry me that much. 0-4, I just don't feel like we have any reason to worry about them.
Yeah, should be a good game. Like you said, don't overlook them. Show up to play, execute, take care of business, which kind of leads us right into our next talking point, which is just talking about our keys to victory. Obviously we don't share notes per usual. I don't know what you're going to say. You don't know what I'm going to say, but I think this one should be fairly cut and dry. I think we just need to play good ball. So Tyler, give me your first key to victory to get this win versus UTEP.
This is going to be we got to clean up the penalties and we got to clean up the self-inflicted wounds, or you can't be going or make a great play on offense and get it called back for holding. You can't stop their offensive drive and get called for pass interference or anything. That's stuff we've been doing to ourselves, and we just got to clean it up and get back to what we was doing before the Toledo game. And I feel like we're in good shape.
Yeah, my number one is the same. It's clean up the penalties and clean up the turnovers. Said that coming into the Boston College game after the Toledo game, where it was such a close game to barely beat Toledo. Knew that we need to play cleaner ball, not have those self-inflicted penalties and turnovers that just gives the ball back to the opponent, potentially on short fields, which is exactly what we did to Boston College, and let them get back into the game and just steal that game from us late. When somebody's coming in, they're going to be likely a big underdog, 12, 14, 15 points. I would not be surprised. They're kind of playing with house money at this point. They're going to be 0-4, probably 0-5 coming in. They've got nothing to lose. They're in a rebuilding year with a new coach, a lot of new players, transfers, etc. At this point of the season, while their aspirations are over for a bowl game or a conference championship game, with the writing's kind of on the wall when you're 0-4, potentially 0-5, that you might just be playing spoiler to someone else's season and their goals. If you're not going to run through the conference. So I just think we have to play a clean game. We can't give them momentum or let them hang around too long in this game, because then that leads itself to what happened against Boston College. Lose that lead late and then you don't get it back. So just play a clean game, and I think everything will be okay. Tyler, what about your second key to victory?
It's going to be, obviously they're not a running team or much of a running team. I guess the next key would be keep Kenny Odom, Cam Thompson, and Jaden Smith in front of you, and make some of their their quarterback throw to some of those other receivers that, typically don't get many looks, because I feel like we'll be able to stop them. But I guess it would be make someone other than their playmakers beat you.
Mine's going to be to just continue to open the offense up. I think we saw, almost a tale of two halves. Against Boston College. We saw the first half where we were moving the ball, chunk plays, nice yards after catch, playmakers making plays. And it seemed like the second half we just got stagnant, running the ball predictably kind of on first down, not getting a lot of yardage, being behind the sticks. I think we need to be more productive, more successful, and win on first down more often. And just we've seen the playbook when it's open, coming down the line versus Toledo, we move the ball. First half, Boston College, the entire MTSU game, we just had our way pitching the ball around. I think this is going to be a good game to get a lot of receivers involved. I think the score could be lopsided. We could even see a backup quarterback before this game's over. So, open up the offense, let them go out there, have fun, let them get that bad taste of the Boston College game out of their mouth, and, put this game to bed early. What's your third key to victory?
Come out, play aggressive, and just be mean. Kind of like what you said. Take that aggression from Boston College game, take it out on UTEP. I guess it's not start the conference slate, but start the second game of the conference slate. Just angry and just come out mean, man. I guess it'd be play angry.
Yeah, my third key to victory is going to be start fast. I mean, we don't want to come out and let an underdog team, a winless team, stick around and hang around for long in this game. We want to come out and just score on if it's every possession. I don't expect a 73-0 type game like we did against FIU a couple of years ago, but I expect us to come out the gate and start fast and just really leave no doubt to this game, from the opening whistle. Just come out and assert our will, assert our dominance, and just show that we're the better team by far. That 0-4 series record isn't an accident. Their 0-4 record for this season, probably 0-5 coming into our game, is not an accident. They're just not a very good team. And while we could lose this game, I think it's going to take a lot of execution errors and penalties, turnovers, etc., to allow that to happen. So take care of business, start fast, and let this offense have fun. We've seen what they can do. Let's see it for another 60 minutes, and what better time than come back home for UTEP? Who is going to be your MVT versus these UTEP Miners?
All right, so based on what we've seen today, I'm going to go with Caden Veldkamp. He kind of has the keys to the red Corvette, the shiny red Corvette. And if he ain't giving good passes to the receivers, our offense just kind of stalls. So I'm going to go Caden.
Yeah, I'm also going Caden. I think it could be a number of guys receiving passes from Caden, but I think it might be one of those games where a lot of guys get some love, a lot of the depth chart gets some reps. So I'm going to go with the one that's probably stirring the drink for the majority of the game, and that's Caden Veldkamp. I think he's going to come out and have a really big game. He's been pretty consistent, pretty steady, and he's just going to continue to grow and get better as he gets more comfortable being the starting quarterback as this season goes down the line. So I'm really excited for him and just watching his growth in real time and getting to see that and enjoy that, because I think he's a really good quarterback and will be for, hopefully a couple more years after this year. But I think it's Caden Veldkamp. I think he is going to lead us to a convincing victory. And speaking of that victory, got to get your score prediction. Are you sticking with the preseason prediction, or are you going to mix it up? What you got for the score prediction?
All right, so preseason I predicted 31-14. Tops win, of course. I am adjusting that based on what we've seen, especially against MTSU. I'm not going to go as bombastic as what I did against with the MTSU score prediction. I'm actually going to stop at 49 points that we score, and UTEP only scores 10. I feel like that's probably going to come in garbage time. We may slip up one time and let them get 7 points, and then we hold them, and then they just get a field goal in garbage time. But I'm going to go 49-10 tops win. You win. We lit, baby.
All right, I'm sticking with my preseason score prediction, even though I probably should run up the Hilltopper side a little bit more than what it is. I'm going with still a convincing victory. I'm going with my preseason pick. That was 38-14. My gut tells me that we can for sure score more than 38, and they're averaging 14 points per game, right around there. So I'll keep them at that. So a 24-point victory would be acceptable. Obviously, I think and hope and believe that we can and hopefully will win by more. But I'm going to stick with the preseason pick because I don't think it's going to be too far off. And if they prove me wrong, then it's just a blowout of great proportion. So I'll be here for that as well. So really looking forward to it. Will be a fun game. I know it's going to be a game that I miss due to that fall break that I mentioned earlier. Not many home games I ever miss. But this will be one that I do miss. I will be out of town with the family, taking a little vacation, little fall break from school and work, they call it. So we'll be down there soaking up the Florida sunshine. But really looking forward to this game. Still looking forward to doing, the post game spaces. That doesn't change. The show must go on. If I have to do a hot tub episode, we'll do a hot tub episode. We'll do spaces. We're going to keep this thing moving. No days off, no vacations off, no schedule conflicts, whatever you want to call it. We're just going to keep it moving. So looking forward to it. We need this bye week, this 12-day layoff before UTEP. I think we're still relatively healthy, but having that extra time to heal up and get ready for this game is always needed and appreciated. And just give us time to get ready and study up and just get that Boston College loss out of our mouth. I definitely think we're going to come out with a vengeance, and I'm excited for it. I'll be definitely tuned in and watching. Because I think we still have everything in front of us for this conference season. Nobody in Conference USA, just watching the scoreboard today, nobody's looked unbeatable. If Liberty does look beatable, they'll cancel the game and say it's too rainy for them to play. Nobody else has looked dominant. So, why not us? Let's go out and control what we can control. Go win these games, and it starts with the next one. It's the most important one, and UTEP, sorry, it's you. You're next. We're knocking on the door, and I think we're going to take care of business, and it's going to be a fun game to watch or attend, however you consume that. So, man, Tyler, hit us with your final thoughts, and then take us the heck out of here.
Well, I would be amiss if I didn't do something that I did last season, and that's talking about the kicker for the opposing team. And this one is Buzz Flabiano. Probably butchered that last name, but it is what it is, dude. I apologize. He is 100% on extra points made. He is 7 for 7. Field goals attempted versus made. He's only 50%, 3 of 6. And his yardage is 20. When he's kicking from 20-29, he is 1 of 2. 30 for 39, he is 0 for 1. 40 and through 49 yards, he is 2 for 3. And that's as far as he gets. His longest is 55 yards. He is accountable for 16 points on the season. So do with that as you would. But moving on to the final words, man. This rain that came through, I feel so bad for the people of Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, especially with that dam breaking. It's absolutely terrifying. I know a few games got canceled, Liberty versus App State, and apparently Liberty, Caden did not make many friends in the Sunbelt community. That was crazy. But you're right. I guess Liberty would cancel that game if you feel like you're going to beat them. Hopefully we have no excuse for them to cancel the game. No, it's all sunshine and rainbows around here whenever that game comes over there at their place. But yeah, man, definitely got to get this Boston College game out of our mouth because it does suck. UTEP, I would feel bad for you, but I don't. Sorry. And you're right. No one on the schedule really seems unbeatable. This conference championship is still way ahead of us, but I feel like the path is pretty much clear. I can see us kind of getting in a close game once or twice. I feel like last season, I feel like New Mexico State probably not going to be much of an obstacle. Jack State, I could see them kind of being pesky. Liberty, I think, is one that gives us the greatest challenge, but I still feel like we could beat them. This ain't, they're bringing back the QB and the running back, but I mean, and they probably got some other offensive weapons, but I still don't like you, so I ain't gonna give you the respect until you deserve it, and you ain't. But it's great to have a bye week. Because like you said, we do need to rest up. We do need to heal up. I hopefully everyone comes back with a attention directly on UTEP, still anger in their hearts, fire in their chest, and let's go get that W, dog. Hope you have a safe trip down to Florida. I hope everyone else, if you don't go anywhere on fall break, come out to the house. It's going to be a great time. And it'd be nice to have 16, 17,000, even 19,000, kind of like it was for the Toledo game. Come on out, bring your friend, bring your neighbor, bring your family, mother, sister, baby, friend, crazy aunt. I don't care. Bring them all. Let's make some noise and make Houchins Smith Stadium a pretty wild place to play. So, Moff, I will say once again, who has it better than us?
Nobody, buddy. You know it.
You know, dog.
Go Tops.
Go Tops. See y'all on the flip flop.
Later, guys.
See you.